the ones that can perform at that level, it's still too much. It's a lot. And it's just, I use the example of, I have 3 kids, 24, 20, and 9, and my 24-year-old played competitive soccer. And so 10 years ago, which is frightening for me to say, she was 14 and freshman in high school, and they were practicing 3 days a week, games on the weekend, maybe practice was an hour and a half, and now we're seeing 5 to 6 days a week of practice, plus conditioning, games. It has been a slow creep from what I've seen in the last decade of the demands that these kids are facing. Also with just getting into college, the demands of that are required of them, the competitiveness of getting into good colleges. And from the get-go, it's, I have to get into a good college. I have to take advanced classes, AP classes. It's a lot. They're almost building a resume at 14 years old, and it's a lot of pressure. So some of the main themes I hear in my office from teenagers is, I don't feel like I have a venue to talk about how I'm feeling. I don't feel heard. I don't want to burden or bother my parents or stress them out. And lastly, I want to feel more emotionally connected to my parents. These are things I'm hearing weekly in my office. Parents, we as parents, because I'm a parent too, are our kids' primary attachment figure, and we have an incredible influence on our kids. Influence on how they feel about themselves, how they deal with their stress, and we have an incredible ability to comfort our kids, which is amazing that we have that power with them to be able to help them when they are struggling. So the goal is, we want our kids to come to us when they are struggling. Oftentimes, and not just teens, but all of us, when we're struggling, we can tend to isolate or hide, and that could be from fear of judgment or fear of, having some shame for struggling and not knowing how to get through whatever difficulty we're dealing with. And when we hide, we actually are disconnecting from those around us. And what we need most when we're struggling is connection. And so our goal is for our kids to reach out to us when they're struggling. And today, we had an amazing day with Chatfield Kids, thanks to Sean and the staff here. It was amazing. And, oh, it's right here, thank you. I wanted to read you some of the things. We had these poster boards all around, and we had a bunch of different questions. And we had each kid write a sticky for each question, or as many as they wanted, and they went around and put them on here. And this is one that it says, what holds you back from telling someone you're struggling? And so I thought I'd read these to you, or some of them, and I need my glasses, I'm sorry. I'm showing my age. Fear of being trapped, being a burden. People will think that I'm weak. I might feel worse. I just don't have the words. I don't know what words to use. I don't want them to be disappointed in me. Fear. Fear of impeding on their day and happiness. Burden, guilt about not being masculine. That was one. Worrying someone isn't going to take me seriously or that they are going to ignore me. Having the feeling that no one would understand or listen to me or dismiss my feelings. Again, the fear that is a burden to someone else. Fear of looking weak. So those are some of the things that Chatfield Kids said today. And I thought it was really powerful. And they were amazing. I mean, kids today, they are so emotionally aware and intelligent. I'm looking at you. You know that. They really are. And we as parents weren't raised, at least I wasn't. I'm 52 2 or 3, I can't remember right now. My mom said things like, if it's something I don't want to hear, don't tell me. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Is that I'm not supposed to tell you anything? So, my parents didn't talk about their feelings and emotions. And so, maybe if I weren't a therapist, I probably wouldn't know how to do it either. So, we weren't raised that way. And right now, these young people are so aware, emotionally in tune, aware of communication styles, and they do want to talk. They do want to share with their parents. And so that old saying is, kids don't do what we say, they do what we do. We as parents need to be modeling how we are talking about our mental health. We need to be showing them that we're open to talking about mental health. We can talk about our own mental health with our kids, not in a way that they need to care for us, but in a way that shows that we're open and we're normalizing the conversation. So they know that they can come talk to us about the same things. And it helps things not feel so big, too. Hey, we talk about how we feel at home. If that's a normal conversation, it's not going to feel so big to bring you something, right? And then again, actively showing how you manage your own stress, how you deal with overwhelm, how you deal with disappointments, the long to-do list. And another big one is, are you willing to ask for help? It's a really great modeling for our kids to show that we're able to ask for help ourselves when we need it. I wanted to share you a quick story of something that just happened 2 weeks ago, and it really is showing the power of a parent sharing. It's showing the power of parents being their kids' primary attachment figure. I have a 13-year-old boy in my practice who's dealing with emotional dysregulation and some depression. Was having a hard time getting him to open up. And I had the dad come in for a session because I knew that the dad had a history of suffering from depression. And I might cry right now even talking about it because it was so emotional, watching the reaction of his son listening to his dad say, I've dealt with depression, I'm on medication, I know how you feel, I want to talk to you about this. I am here for you. Please don't hold back. And as he's talking, the son is just, tears are streaming down his face. And I said to him, how does it feel that your dad is opening up to you right now? And he said 4 things. He said, I feel less alone. I know he understands me. I know I can talk to him. And I know he will listen. It was amazing. And so, speaking of listening, parents, listen, validate, empathize, reassure, comforting your kids. That's what it is, really. When you are listening to them, that is comforting. When we jump to problem solving too quickly, which we can tend to do as parents, we see our kids suffering and we want to make it better. It hurts us a little bit when they are hurting, right? And so we jump to problem solving, it cuts them off emotionally, and they're likely not to come back to us. And so if we can just listen. And what else I do is I kind of separate it out. And I did this when I was younger with my kids because it just made it easier for me as a parent. I think of it in 2 ways. There's the mom-dad role and there's the parent role. And I'm actually conscious when I'm in which role. And the parenting role is the crap, the stuff you don't want to do, right? Do your chores. Did you do your homework? All that stuff, and it also entails some lecturing and all of that stuff, right? And then the mom-dad role is the fun role, right? We get to do fun things, we don't have to have worries, we can relax together, play music, watch movies, cuddle, whatever it is, right? It's that softer side, which to me is the more fun side. And I will even say to my kids, all right, you're making me do it, I gotta go in the parent role right now. And they're like, okay. But it just helps us be a little more conscious in how we're interacting with our kids, because The connecting part is when we're in the mom-dad role. When we get in the parent role, we can have disconnection, and that can be really hard. I'm almost done. I tried to pare it down to 4 minutes, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So, really, the last thing I just want to say is when we can talk about our emotions and struggling at home, it increases feelings of belonging, acceptance, and connection. And our kids will reach out to us because we've normalized the conversation. They won't be afraid of stressing us out or burdening us because we've told them that they can come to us with anything, that we have their back. So that's it. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt right now. Thank you.